Obviously, at the University of Minnesota, we've prided ourselves for years of hosting championship events here, always with the priority of providing an incredible experience for our student athletes who are participating, as well as the communities. And we're very fortunate to have a community with a bunch of great partners who have helped us bring these bids to town. Not only the ones that were announced today, but obviously in 2018, we're blessed with a long list of championships we'll be hosting as well. So certainly meet Minneapolis and support Minneapolis, visit St. Paul, US Bank Stadium, Target Center, Xcel Energy Center, certainly our staff here on campus. All put a lot of time and effort into these bids and are excited to put even more time and effort into hosting these championships over the next few years.
Can you talk a little bit about the impact on the Twin Cities, Melvin?
Absolutely. First, I just wanted to acknowledge the great working relationship we're blessed to have with the university and with all the other partners, some of which Tom had mentioned before, but clearly with our Meet Minneapolis and Sports Minneapolis teams. We're just very fortunate to have such great support with our venues and facilities and other organizations in town. So for the 4 events that we were awarded over the next few years, just kind of start out with the big number. It's roughly a $70 million total economic impact. So these are very significant events, and I would just maybe speak about wrestling at US Bank Stadium for just a second. It'll be the first time that the event will have been in a venue of that size and of that caliber. And so this is really a game changer for wrestling, and I think they'd frankly be hard-pressed to go to another type of venue, although those are not our decisions, Tom. But significant. That's very significant because of, again, being able to allow a larger live crowd to view the great wrestling action of the NCAA athletes, and then to highlight our great venue and US Bank Stadium. Wanted to speak just also on a special note relative to the women's volleyball at what will be a newly renovated Target Center, taking place in December, a time of year when business in the hospitality community is not very. There's not a lot of business during that time of the year. So to have the actual athletic competition and also the associated convention that goes along with that really is going to be a great win for our community. So we're very excited about that.
Great. Well, open the floor to questions. If you guys have any questions for Melvin and Tom, please feel free to ask.
Tom, from the Gophers' perspective, certainly brings some notoriety, but it also uses up a lot of resources for the university. Why is it such a high priority to host some of the championship events here?
You know, I think it's something that the University of Minnesota has prided on itself for years. We were hosting these championships back, I think we found that the first, Final Four was here in 1951, or not the first, but one of them was in Williams Arena back then. So I think it's just something we've always taken a lot of pride in. We like to provide those. We have a great sports community here in the Twin Cities. They're very supportive of our 25 sport programs. It supports pretty much every professional sports organization you can imagine is here in the Twin Cities. So I think it's an opportunity to give back to our fans as well and provide them great championship experiences right here in their community, as well as, obviously providing great experiences again for those student athletes. Our goal is always, hopefully our teams will be competing when we host those events, but and provide them the opportunity to compete in their hometowns. So obviously that's a goal of ours as well. So.
Tom, is it important too to basically piggyback on the Super Bowl also, like Minneapolis, St. Paul? This is a destination for sports of all ways, shapes, and sizes, and the U is included in that.
Absolutely. I think, we were talking earlier today, you've got the X Games, you've got the Super Bowl, we've already had the Final Four. Next year we're hosting both the men's and women's Frozen Fours here in town. So I think this is just going to continue the success we've had with hosting these championships, and really, again, to your point, shows that the Twin Cities area is a destination for sports fans.
Melvin, how nice was it when putting together these bids and things like that to have Target Center as a viable option to host something for the first time in a while?
Well, the timing on that was great because I know they went through a lot of challenges to get the financing done to make sure that the arena would be really renovated and ready for a great fan experience. It was very rewarding. I think it's very interesting to note that we were able to secure events that are using multiple facilities around the community, from Target Center to US Bank Stadium to facilities here at the U to the convention center. So that's very exciting. So yes, that was a great win for us in that regard.
On past events, economic impact has always been bolstered, but little of that effort came to the black community. So is there any assurance that you see that some of this money that's coming in the next few events will filter into the black community as well as utilizing black in meaningful positions of planning those type of things?
You know, I think one of the areas where that's been a big focus already, because we've already started the planning, is with the Final Four. Kate Mortensen, who's the president and CEO of that local organizing committee, has made it a huge priority of that group in the planning to make sure we recognize that that is an event for the entire community. You know, only 70-some thousand people will be able to get tickets to that event, but having been in Phoenix a couple weeks ago, you realize how much of an impact that event can have on the community. And I think one of the things we always try and do with our championships is find something that's successful at one championship and try and tailor it to a new championship. So I think with these events that we've got coming through the Twin Cities over the next couple of years, we'll be able to build on some of the planning and the initiatives that we've started through our Final Four planning, and hopefully be able to carry them over into some of these other championships as well.
And I could just add, Mr. Hallman, that with the template that's been created for the Super Bowl with Business Connect, some of those elements that are being put in place right now, our hope, particularly with Meet Minneapolis, Sports Minneapolis, is to carry those on in the future to make sure that we're able to give a wide variety of businesses the opportunity to participate within the hospitality economy.
Certainly, it does do a lot for the community to get these events, but what are the biggest, I guess, benefits you see specifically for the university when hosting these events?
You know, I think it's the ability to be good partners with the NCAA. Obviously, as a member institution, we look for the opportunity to bring these events. It brings a lot of notoriety and exposure to our campus and the great things that are happening here. A lot of our student athletes that are doing wonderful things, the student athletes that come from the other teams that are doing wonderful things. So, you know, I think it's whenever you host one of these premier events, it's that focus that's brought on to the talented staff that you have that execute that event, but also a lot of the good stories that happen with the student athletes in each of those sports.
All right, if there's no further questions, Tom, Melvin, thank you so much. As they leave the stage, we have three coaches here with us today as well. We have our head volleyball coach, Jim McCutcheon, see our head men's basketball coach, Richard Patino, and our head wrestling coach, Brandon Agam. If three of you would like to join me up here at the front, we'll take some questions about the coaches and how these events may have an impact on their program and their fan base. So whenever you guys are ready, feel free, if you would, try to address your question to the individual you might be asking it to, or if you'd like a response from all three, make that known as well.
I'll start with you, Coach Patino, since you're first in line here. Just talk about, obviously, the Final Four coming here. Before that event, there'll be a Gopher basketball game in US Bank Stadium, but you know, you see 2021 now, you're getting the regional. So obviously the fact that your team is competing at a high level now with all these events coming up, how exciting is that for Gopher basketball?
It's very exciting. You know, when you can obviously sell to local recruits about, you know, the potential of playing in a Final Four, which is everybody's dream who gets into coaching, you know, to sell that, you have an opportunity to do that is huge. And we've already started doing that. And, you know, anyone who's been in US Bank or who's seen what the Target Center is doing, you know, those are places that you'd want to play in. You know, so this is a special area for all sports. And it's only a benefit to have everybody see how great our fans are all across the board. And obviously for basketball, it's just growing every single day. And, you know, we'll be able to use this in a big way in recruiting.
Hugh, obviously the program's made a few runs to Final Fours, and I'm just wondering, when you see other schools who are maybe close to the location or hosting the location, what kind of boost or advantage has that maybe given a program that you guys could see should you get there as well?
I think it provides significant advantage if you can play in a Final Four in your hometown. It's a big deal. So certainly this provides a wonderful framework for our program for the next couple of years.
Also, in terms of wrestling, you have so many great athletes and a great history of wrestling here. at the university, that they can finally get the recognition on their home mat, so to speak, rather than going elsewhere. What does this mean to you guys as a team, but also when they compete individually to get their fans to come out and support them on this level?
Well, obviously, this would be great for our fans. The community has talked about this for a long time, wanting to bring wrestling here, and I'm biased, but the wrestling championships, NCAA championships, I think is one of the most exciting events in college sports, and so for our fans and our past alumni who have done so many wonderful things here for the sport of wrestling, it's great that they get an opportunity to see it firsthand right here in this world-class city. So.
Any additional questions?
Richard, do you think it's about time that the U gets its due in terms of having all these events kind of stack up to have all you three gentlemen on the stage and finally be on the positive side and things being held right here?
You know, I always knew the Twin Cities were a great area and a lot of major sports teams with great fan interest. But normally when you have a major city, they don't normally care much about the university. There's a little bit of apathy towards all those sports. And I know with both these guys and with us, you know, there's sellout crowds for all of our games or most of our games, and the environments are terrific. So I think we're unique in that, where they do care about the major sports programs, but they really care about this university and all these sports. You know, it doesn't matter who it is. And that's what makes this place special. So I think now that we can bring some NCAA championships, whether it's wrestling, volleyball, basketball, it's huge because that is very unique in this town. You don't get that in any other major city. So the more people we can bring here to see how special of a place it truly is. You know, a venue being downtown in the Target Center is terrific. It's not going to be spread out. It's going to be really, really easy to enjoy. You know, so I think it's extremely important for this university and its athletic department to get its due, like you said, because our fans deserve that.
Coach Pitino, there certainly is a pretty solid base of basketball fans in this state, and maybe they haven't had as much to cheer about over the past, you know, however many years, but with the program coming on now and the Target Center renovations and hosting these two pretty major NCAA events, I mean, does that just kind of, I guess, continue to grow and maybe give these basketball fans, I don't know, something to really kind of continue to show support for?
Well, I you know, obviously, I watch a lot of basketball, and you know, one thing we can't complain about is fans. I remember watching the Wolves played OKC the last game of the season, and obviously the Wolves weren't in it, and obviously got a young team, but it was sold out or pretty close to sold out, and Russell Westbrook didn't play. That shows you what type of fans we have just for basketball alone. Obviously, you know, I remember last year we didn't have a very good team, and Maryland game wasn't quite sold out, but it was pretty darn close to sold out. So our fans deserve these things. They deserve a Final Four being here from a basketball standpoint. They deserve, you know, I know the Wolves fans, you know, for the Target Center to be renovated and all those things, because that's one thing that we sell a lot is, you know, from a basketball standpoint, this is as good of a state when it comes to fan support as I've been around.
Brandon, can you talk about just playing, obviously the opportunity to play in the U.S. Bank Stadium and, you know, that type of venue, obviously the size of that venue for wrestling?
Yeah, it's going to be different. It's already been mentioned. You know, most all the wrestling championships have been in arenas, and we have the fortune of going to U.S. Bank Stadium. It's an amazing stadium, and it's going to allow fans an opportunity to see it. There's a lot of other benefits to that U.S. Bank Stadium from a student-athlete standpoint. In some of the other arenas, it's tough to have the space you need with, you know, nearly 70 teams there trying to warm up and locker room space and all those things. So this will give us an amazing feel for our fans to watch, but also for the student-athletes, the ability to be supported in the right way. So we're excited about that, and it's going to be a great NCAA championships for us.
This can be for any of the coaches, but when you hear about things like, and you see U.S. Bank Stadium being constructed and like obviously the Target Center renovations, do you think about these possibilities as those are first kind of occurring and being planned and I guess being built and constructed? Do you think about these types of possibilities and what's it like to see them come to fruition?
Great question for you, Hugh.
You always want to have the chance to host something of that magnitude, but you also have to understand that you can only control so much in that equation. But it's okay to have some dreams, and it's of course nice to have them come true.
Any additional questions? All right. Thank you guys for coming over. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks everyone for being here. And one last note, Mike Burns from men's gymnastics would have been our fourth coach here. He has media availability at 2 o'clock over at Cook Hall. So if you'd like to comment from him or just see Mike Burns, you've never been to a better media availability than a Mike Burns media availability. So he's over at Cook Hall today at 2 o'clock.
I never saw him.